Am I the a-hole for not sharing my inheritance equally? I am 30 to have just come into a lot of money. My grandfather was very wealthy, 10 million USD if you include all assets and stocks, plus a small company, and he left 100% of this to me when he died. He was from an upper middle class family, not wealthy, but very comfortable. He made some very smart business decisions and honestly, got really lucky. He was an early investor in a lot of big tech companies that are very successful now. No big brand names, but a lot of lesser known that make important parts and equipment. To make a long story short, my entire family is in a cult. Only he and I aren't. We were very close. The rest of the family mostly avoided us unless they were trying to convince him to give them money, which inevitably went to their religious leaders, even if they would say it was for something else. After giving away about 100,000 to various family members in order to help them, all of which went to funding cult activities, he stopped giving money to family. I was the only exception because he trusted my judgment and knew that if I needed money for something, I'd actually use it for what I said I would. He's helped me with debt, buying a house, a car, and he was going to help me get married next year. 2 months ago, he died from heart failure. Obviously, it was difficult for me. We had an amazing funeral for him, with a lot of his friends present. Most of them I knew well. The entire family was there too, but I'd only invited half of them. The rest just showed up and I was too busy to bother getting them to leave. My relatives spent the whole time trying to figure out who was getting his money. Only me and his friends actually talked about him in his life. Fast forward to last week, and I got a call from his lawyer asking me to come meet with him. I took an afternoon off work to go to his office. He showed me my grandfather's will, plus a letter he left for me. Here's the short version. Because I'm his only living relative who has a clear head and regularly exhibits good judgment, he has left everything he owns to me. Everything from his company, his houses, vehicles, etc., all the way down to the spare change in his glove box. It's all mine. There's several million in cash, several more in stocks, and the rest is assets. It's all mine to do with whatever I choose, but he does ask that I look out for the family as best I can. Under no circumstances can I allow any of his money to end up going to the cult. It's up to me to decide how to do that, but he recommends that I buy what they need myself rather than giving them cash. I've spent the past week figuring out how to manage all this. I decided to do the following. Everyone in the family, about 24 people, will get 100,000 that's intended solely for them. I'll keep this money in the bank, only I can access it. When they need something they can't afford alone, they can ask me, and if I feel it's something my grandfather would have wanted his money used for, I'll pay for it. I feel this is fair, and my grandfather's lawyer, who knew him ever longer than me, agrees that this would have been agreeable to my grandfather. I told the family earlier today on a Zoom meeting. I'm sure it's not surprising, but it went terribly. They said that I have no right to deprive them of their fair share of the fortune, and demand that I give them all an equal share immediately. I tried to reason with them, but it was doomed from the start, so I gave up. I muted them all, told them that this was what Granddad wanted, and hung up. I've got about 100 calls and texts, but I've ignored them all. The lawyer reassured me that I'm handling this as well as anyone could, but I'm not sure. So Reddit, AITA for not giving them a share of the money.